Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be stress or durability testing a couple of pedals. So to test this, I've got one pedal from a manufacturer who's known for having good durability, that being Boss. In this case, this is an MD2, which retails for around the £100 mark. And then I've got one pedal from a manufacturer who's known for having pretty poor durability, that being Behringer. And in this case, a UM300 Ultra Metal, which retails for around the £20 mark. So we're going to put both of these pedals through 4 different tests, each of which has an increasing level of harshness, and we're going to see which of, if either of them, survive. So to start off with, and just to prove that both of these pedals do work, we have the Behringer, and we have the Mega Distortion. So we're going to start off with what I consider to be completely fair use and go up from there. So I'm going to start with both of these pedals on the floor and I'm just going to stand on them. I might be a little bit more aggressive than generally you'd expect, but nothing that these pedals wouldn't go through, especially in a gigging environment. So we'll start off by giving these a good stamping on and see where we go from there. So nothing really there that you wouldn't expect for them to go through in their lifetime, and especially in a gigging scenario. But have they both survived that? So first we have the Behringer and the Boss. So there you go, exactly as you'd expect and hope for, even at a £20 price point. They can both take a good stamping and be absolutely fine. But let's move on, let's up the ante and see what they can take. So the next test I'm going to put these through is a drop test. Now again, in a gigging environment, especially if they're being shipped around, this is something that you'd probably expect a pedal to go through and you'd probably expect to be able to withstand. That being said, I'm going to push it a little bit further and I'm going to drop these out of a first floor window. So about a 10 or 12 foot drop. So let's do that and see how these pedals fare. And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's the drop test done. Now both of these pedals have taken a bit of a beating, especially on the corners, but not too bad, and I'm pretty sure that they're still going to work. So all plugged in, and we've got the Behringer and the Boss. So we're all still working there. So for the next test, I think we're going to turn up the heat a little bit. And by that I mean we're going to set these on fire. So I'm going to douse these in lighter fluid and see what the heat does to them. Now this probably goes without saying, but obviously, especially for the sake of your pedals, don't try this at home. But if you are stupid enough to try this, always remember, safety first. Okay, so after our third fire test, I think it's fair to say that one pedal fared a lot better than the other one did. Turns out that when you get plastic burning, it really does start to go. Luckily for you on YouTube, you can't smell how bad these smell, but I am very impressed with how well the Boss has stayed intact. That's quite impressive. Whether it will work is another thing, but I'm pretty sure I won't even be able to get this plugged in, but let's give it a go. Okay, so starting off with the Behringer. In fairness to it, it is still distorting, but that doesn't sound happy. Having said that, despite it still doing some sort of distortion and being able to turn it on, I can't now switch it off. So I'm going to have to unplug it, and I think I've given it a little bit too much credit there by saying it still works. I think this one's pretty dead now. But we'll still put it through the 4th test just for the fun of it. But moving on to the Boss. Unlike the Behringer, it's still working perfectly fine. Now the LED on the top has died and the knobs have completely melted, so you can't change the tone, but as long as you're happy with the tone that you get when it catches on fire, it will still work absolutely fine, even down to the foot switch. So I can go and then kick in the distortion. That's very impressive, that is. Now for this final test we're going to find out what would happen if your pedal just happened to fall out of your gig bag and end up on the motorway and get run over by a car. Let's see if this finally finishes them off. Doesn't look any worse than when I set it on fire. Okay, so the car has entirely finished off the Behringer pedal. It's completely smashed up all of the output jack, and I know that, I mean, there's no way to get a jack into it, so that is definitely dead. Some of the capacitors are bent, and I think that's just really finished it off. However, the Boss, I mean, to me it doesn't look any worse than just after it had been set on fire, and I'm 99% sure this is still gonna work, but let's find out. Let's just double check. So there you go, still works and sounds as you'd expect. So I don't know about you, but I think that gives us a fairly firm conclusion. Credit where credit's due, the Behringer did survive better than I was expecting it to. But what they say about Boss pedals really is true. If you want a pedal that can survive ridiculous things, and let's face it, situations that most pedals are never gonna see, then Boss pedals are gonna survive that. As always, leave me your thoughts on this down in the comments. And if you'd like to see more stupid content like this, then consider checking out the links down below. Any of these would really help me out and give me a bit of budget for doing more stupid things like this. But that's the end of this video and all from me today. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.